Welcome to Unacademy platform. This platform provides daily life classes. Then there are various structured courses for almost every competitive examinations. Then there are live tests and quizzes, and you have unlimited access on subscription. You can also download Unacademy Learning app and various things that are provided in YouTube and website. All uh, those are available in the app also. This is about me, and this is my Telegram link. Okay, so if you have any doubt regarding any doubt or any question in my lecture, if you face any problem there, you can just ping me. And this is my Unacademy profile. Okay, profile link. So you can see now these are the top educators in Unacademy, and you can access uh, these courses which are from top educators on platform as well as on app. Now, if you choose for plus, then you have live classes, test series, unlimited practice, and structured schedule. Okay, and if you go for iconic, you are also going to get personal coach, daily mains, question answer practice, study planner, and personalized feedback. So these are the benefits. Now these are the plans, different plans. Okay, uh, you can choose uh, to subscribe to these plans according to your requirement. And if you choose any, then you can actually apply this very code, okay, Amit PS, in order to avail 10% discount. So you get 10% discount by using this very code, that is Amit PS. Okay, again, as I said you that these are the offers that you get in Iconic. And again, these are the different plans for subscription. And while subscribing to these very plans, you use this very code, that is Amit PS, in order to get 10% discount. So apply this very code and you get 10% discount. Now again, these are the different plans. These are the different optional subjects that are available in the platform. I'm going to take PSIR. Okay. Again, these are the different plans, subscriptions plans. And if you choose any, just apply this very code Amit PS in order to avail 10% discount. Okay. Okay. Now coming to the lecture. In the last class, I discussed about the communism, the device of communism of family and property that Plato proposes in order to again establish his ideal state. So every scheme that he's coming out with is actually uh, his scheme is actually driven to attain that purpose, that ultimate purpose of establishing the ideal state. Okay, so we discussed about theory of ideas and then theory of education, and we also discussed communism of family and property. All that is there to establish the ideal state. Now, in order to establish ideal state, justice is the foremost objective. Okay, and in order to establish justice, Plato comes out with principles of justice. That means proper stationing and non-interference. Then he also comes out with a theory of education or the scheme of education, a very elaborate one, to again to establish justice in the society. Okay, because this justice is the objective of the establishment of ideal state. Now, in line of the city, in series of those very schemes, next is the communism of family and property. And I discussed about the communism of family and property, that why this very thing was actually devised by Plato. Now, this very communism of family and property, you have seen that it is there, this scheme is there for the guardian class. Guardian class consists of producer class and soldiers class. Okay, so they together constitute the guardian class, and produce guardian class consists of first rulers and second soldiers. No producers there. Okay, so it is rulers and soldiers. They together constitute guardian class. Other name of the soldiers class is auxiliaries. Okay, so these devices or these communistic devices are put in order to ensure that these guardian class do not suffer from any corruption, any evils. Okay, for example, corruptions. Now, why the communism of family and property? Property is an evil. Okay, institution of property is an evil. It can make the people belonging to guardian class corrupt. Okay, I also told you that property signifies what? Property signifies appetite. Okay, it signifies appetite. So property is an element of appetite. Appetite, is the dominant virtue, is the dominant quality of the souls of individuals belonging to the producer class. Those individuals who left the scheme of education at the age of 18 and went for the production. So property can actually be, or amassing of the wealth can actually be the purpose of those individuals. Okay, but property as an element of appetite is not suitable in case of guardian class. Okay, that is why Plato proposes to do away with the institution of property in order to ensure that this evil or this institution of property, which is an element of appetite, does not corrupt the guardian class. Okay, that is the purpose here. Now, this was about property. Then why he goes on to bring the communism of family? That is something which can be understood by uh, by Plato's thinking or Plato's thought, where he considers family to be even a greater evil than property. Why he considers family to be a greater evil than property? He considers it because according to Plato, it is going to promote corruption. Okay, it is going to promote corruption. It is going to promote nepotism. It is going to promote favoritism. Okay, so people are going to favor their family members. So if there is one individual sitting in any public office, he is not going to, or it may be the case that he is not doing the task, performing his duty for the larger interest of the state. Rather, he is going for favoritism. He's favoring his own family members. Okay, so in that sense, he's going to abuse the public office for his own good. Okay, for the good of his fellow men, in his family members. So that is the kind of vices which are attached with the family, and that is why he calls for the end of permanent monogamous sexual relationship. Okay, in place of permanent monogamous sexual relationship, he he proposes for the state regulated breeding. Okay, kind of a project which is referred as eugenics. And the purpose here is again to bring the best of the offsprings possible. So best of the males and females they are going to mate, and best of offsprings will be they will be there, or they will come into being in Plato's ideal state. So it will give rise to the regulated breeding under the behest of a state is going to generate the best of the offsprings. Now, I also pointed out that when he calls for the end of the permanent monogamous relations, he is not actually ending the institution of marriage. Marriages are there. What he's trying to do away with is the permanent monogamous sexual relationship. Okay, so in that sense, I also told you that one husband or one individual, one male member is going to have many wives, and one woman is going to have many husbands. Now, this might seem this is something which is going to be highlighted by Aristotle afterwards in form as a criticism to the Plato's scheme of communism. So that is something that we are going to see in this very lecture. Other than that, you will be able to recall that Plato is coming out with this communism of family because there he thinks that children, because they will not be identified with uh, any set of parents, so uh, all the children will be taken care of the guardian class. Okay, because guardian class, the individuals there in the guardian class will not be able to identify themselves as parent of any particular child. So they will be the parents of all the childs who are there in the state. Getting it? So that is the kind of a scheme that Plato comes out with in order to ensure that evils of property and the favoritism and nepotism that is associated with family, these kind of things should not actually corrupt the individuals in guardian class, that is rulers and soldiers, that is auxiliaries. Okay, now this very scheme of communism has invited a lot of criticism, and now we are going to focus on the criticism part of it. Okay, in the previous lecture, again, I told you about the difference between Marxian scheme of communism and Plato's communism, and there you came to learn uh, about this very thing, that Marx communism or Marxian scheme of communism is actually a political solution to an economic problem. Okay, whereas Plato's scheme of communism is a economic solution to a political problem. The political problem that Plato faces is the evil of corruption present in the ruling class. Okay, and the economic problem that Karl Marx faced, was the control of bourgeois over the mode of production. That is something that we are going to see in much more detailed way and detailed manner when we are going to study about Western political thought only. When we are going to study Karl Marx. Okay, so that was something which was needed in order to understand, or in order to understand the parallels that were drawn between the Plato's scheme of communism and Marx's scheme of communism. And there only I also pointed out that how these two devices of communism are totally different. And that is why it would be incorrect to draw the parallels between them. Okay, coming to the criticism part. So the foremost criticism, or the first important criticism, comes from the disciple of Plato, that is the Aristotle himself. Okay, now he criticizes Plato for ignoring the natural instinct of acquiring property. See, I told you that Plato belongs to the idealistic school. Okay, for idealist, uh, idea is actually the real thing. Appearances does not have any significance. Now, this very proposition goes on to the. It is actually, if you try to extend this very argument, if you try to extend this very argument, then you will reach to a conclusion whereby an idealist actually starts ignoring the realities around him, and it seems sometimes that he is living in his own dream. Aristotle, being a realist, is going to point out all the practical problems which are going to emerge when we apply these kind of ideas. So he is pointing out about a very practical problem, a very practical issue here. And the practical issue is that the instinct of acquiring property is present in every individual. Plato takes a bet, or Plato actually considers or strongly believes that once his scheme of education is implemented, then the people who will reach the age of 50 by completing the 35 year of education and the 15-year of uh, practical service experience will start detesting property. Okay, because their first love or their only love will be knowledge, or attaining more and more knowledge and wisdom. But it is difficult to accept fully, or it is difficult to digest fully, that they will lose every instinct or every passion of acquisition of property. Okay, this is something which is an inherent, almost inherent in human beings. Okay, and Aristotle is pointing towards this particular issue. He says that the natural instinct of acquiring the property cannot be ignored. Okay, and he's also pointing out that the scheme of communism of family and property is selective. It is selective in the sense that it is being partial because the producer class is excluded from it. Okay, now you might counter Aristotle here for making this kind of claim that producer class is excluded by saying that if you follow the scheme of Plato, then you will realize that property, being the element of appetite, is very much justified if producers are actually able to amass it. Actually, Plato wants producers to produce more. Okay, so that is going to be in the interest of the state only. But the first part of this very criticism is actually relevant when he says that Plato actually ignored the natural instinct of the acquiring or acquisition of property that humans have. Okay, so that is a valid criticism. Next is Aristotle says that private property is a source of motivation. Very important part. Okay, very important argument here. When we study about the theories, the ideologies like socialism and many other ideologies attached or related with socialism, there you will find that one of the reason behind the success of capitalism has been the motivation that people have in a capitalist mode of production for acquisition of property, for doing better, for being innovative, for being competitive. That source of motivation comes because there is an institution of private property. That hard work, the innovative mindset, the competitive bent of mind, all that is going to be awarded in form of increased private property. Okay, so in that sense, private property is a source of motivation, and in a society, it also provides recognition to a person. In many cases, it actually decides the social status of a person. So, in many ways, it is going to be a motivating factor. By doing away with the institution of property, we are actually um, uh, we are actually taking away that factor of motivation which is going to propel the individuals to work harder, to be competitive, to be innovative. Okay, so that is what Aristotle is saying in his criticism. Okay, now property has other values also, other usages. For example, property provides the stability, okay, and order in the society. Now this very argument can be understood very easily if you analyze the riots in the city. Now, if you analyze the riots, the working of the riots in the city that we are going to do in IGP part, in government politics, then you will realize that those who actually participate in riots, for example, in any communal riots, the very people who are actually participating in it are generally the people who do not have any property, who do not own any property. Why those kind of people who do not own any property are indulged in vandalization of property? Only because they do not own anything. So vandalization of property is not going to affect them in any way. Okay. So the people who own property also have stakes in the stability, in peace, in harmony. Getting it? If we take away the property from those very people, then they will not have similar stakes in harmony, peace, and stability in the society. Okay, that is one factor, to one particular point which is helpful in understanding the Aristotle's criticism here. Secondly, property ensures that the most basic necessities of life are actually fulfilled in case of individuals or in case of society. So it is only through property that we are going to ensure that the basic necessities of individuals are met. Okay, they are fulfilled. That again is going to provide stability or bring stability in the society. So that is why property becomes very important. Now, again, this very valid point is here that property is also a source of charity. So it is through charity that many a times welfare of the disadvantaged section is possible. Now, this charity is possible only when there is property. If there is no property, then charity will not be there. Okay. So, philanthropy, charity, that is all attached, or that is all possible only because of the institution of private property. Okay, next point. Aristotle says that communism of wives and family is bound to create confusion if not disorder. Okay. Now, when Plato is when Plato actually scraps the institution of family by doing away with the permanent monogamous sexual relationship, then one person is going to have multiple wives and one woman is going to have multiple husbands. Now, this is, according to Aristotle, is not sustainable because it is going to generate disorder in the society. Okay, see, one female would be a wife of all the gorgeous, and one male would be the husband of all the females. So this is coming from Aristotle. Okay, and this particular situation, according to Aristotle, is going to create disorder in the society. Again, the extension of the very same argument that a father would have 1,000 sons, and a son 1,000 fathers. Okay, so the kind of systematic arrangement that we have in form of family that is going to be absent in this very scheme. Common ownership also means common neglect. Okay, understand that when things are held in common, okay, or when there is a common ownership, it is generally found that those things which are being owned by everyone is also being is also going to be neglected by everyone. When we personally own anything, then we take full care of it. Okay, because it is we who are responsible for it. So individual, if he is owning anything, will also be very careful with regard to its care. Okay, with regard to its safety, with regard to its sustainability. But if anything is held in common, then we can't expect the same kind of care from every individual in that very community. Okay, so that is what Aristotle is pointing out, that common ownership is going to uh, create a system where it will lead to the where the things will be actually be neglected. Okay, so Plato's communism suggests a system of marriage which is neither monogamy nor polygamy nor polyandry. Okay, so a system of marriage is there, as I told you, that Plato is not denying the institution of marriage. He is just doing away with the permanent monogamous sexual relationship. So, what kind of marriage will be there? That is actually one wonders that what kind of marriage Plato is actually proposing. Is it a marriage at all? Because the case here is actually this, that one female would be a wife of all guardians and one male would be a husband of all the females. Now, what kind of marriage will actually be present in this kind of system? Okay, it is neither monogamy, that is clear that because of the absence of monogamous relationship. It is not polygamy also. Okay, because it is not like one husband and multiple wives. Okay, because that one particular male is also going to be the husband of all the females, and all these females are going to have multiple husbands. And it is also not polyandry where one particular woman is going to have multiple husbands. No, all those males will also be having different females as their wives. So it is neither monogamy nor polygamy nor polyandry. Okay. Now see that state-controlled mating, Aristotle says, would reduce men and women to the level of mere animals. Okay. So mating and permanent monogamous sexual relationship, as I told you, is the very basis of family. Now, if and family is an institution which is going to regulate, okay, the reproduction, of which actually regulates social sexual gratification. All that is that is actually the sexual gratification is actually the basic function of family. Now, if if you do away with the institution of family, then the basic instinct of human beings, uh, one of them being sexual gratification, is is going to be controlled by a state, of course, for the purpose of producing the best offsprings. But even then, Aristotle says that this is not something that actually humans should be doing in a civilized society. Okay, and that is why he is saying that it is going to reduce humans to the levels of animals. And that is why it is being claimed that remedy is worse than the disease. Okay, मतलब ये है कि इस बीमारी का जो इलाज है, इलाज अपने आप में बीमारी से भी खराब है. Okay, this is what it means. Now see further that Plato's theory of communism is condemned by Karl Popper. Yes, he is going to condemn it on the grounds of being too idealistic. Okay, it is too idealistic or too utopian. although this very criticism will again be examined, okay, when we will evaluate Plato. That is going to be our next lecture. But here also, I just need to tell you that idealism means what? Those who are idealist, they are, for them, this the things which are not ideas, for example, the realities that other perceive as realities, are only the appearances. So Plato is an idealist because for him idea is the only reality, or idea is actually the reality. Idea is the reality, and what we models perceive as reality, for idealists that is just appearances. Okay, so it is too idealistic and too utopian. What is the meaning of utopia? Although I will again explain you in the next lecture, but to understand this very point, understand this very small thing, small concept here, that utopia means something which is too idealistic to be practical. So uh, it is idealistic to the extent that it is not practically possible to establish. Okay, it is not practically possible to exist also. So Plato's theory of communism, according to Karl Popper, is too idealistic to be found or to be established in practical sense. Okay, that is what he means when he says that it is utopian. Okay, so to call someone's scheme utopian is actually to deny the very basis of it. Okay, to deny that this very particular thing can actually exist, okay, in any real form, in any practical form. That is what it means to call anyone utopian. So if you call Plato's scheme utopian, you are just trying to negate its relevance by saying that it is not going to be practical to establish it. Okay, it is not going to be possible to practically make it possible in this very visible world. That is what it means when Karl Popper says that it is too utopian and too imaginary. Okay, so this was about Plato's scheme of communism uh, and its criticism. So in last video I discussed about Plato's scheme of communism, and this was about the criticism of it. Okay, now if you like the video you can subscribe it, and if you go with any subscription plan, apply this bill discount, that is Amit Pratap, and then you will attain, you will avail 10% discount. So that was all for this video. Thank you.